Today we're going to be replacing this input shaft. This is going in my 91 notch, and this is the transmission out of a 94 GT. It's too long. I don't feel like relocating the shifter and all that stuff and having to deal with the other headaches that might come with it. So I'm going to replace it. Ordered one off of eBay. It was like 120 bucks. Came with the steel bearing retainer, the proper Foxbody length, little rollers, needle bearings, and the input shaft itself is brand new. Like I said, it was about 120 bucks. Came with everything it needed, brand new. Never been used. And like I said, this is the proper Foxbody length. I don't feel like having to deal with shortening my drive shaft and all that other mess, so I'm just going to swap it out. There's the old bearing retainer. You can see the height difference in the Fox one compared to the SN95 one. It's like 11/16 of an inch or something like that. Alright, I'm about to pull the input shaft out. Now these things do have these 15 roller bearings in them, and from what I understand they're a nightmare if they fall out into the case of the transmission. From what I've read online, they recommend tilting it up and letting gravity work with you to help get them out. So then they'll just come out with the input shaft. So I don't know, let's see how it goes. Well, that worked. They all came out. You can see them in there. They wanted to hang up, but that works out. Okay, with the input shaft out, you can see. I guess you really can't, but there's this little thrush washer I need to get out too. The new one came with it, and I'm assuming it is required for the proper in-play. Transmission looks to be in really good shape. Came out of a low mile original car, so we'll find out when we put it in a few months. Before you put the new one on, you want to make sure you get all this old gasket, silicone, whatever may be there off of this thing. Make sure you put a rag in there to keep from getting stuff inside. About as clean as I'm gonna get it. And to put these little roller bearings in your input shaft, for what I've seen online, they say to use just some grease and it'll hold them in place. And just coat the inside of the input shaft where they go, and it should be sticky enough to hold them in place, because you do not want to have to fish these things out, from what I've heard. There are 15 of them. I'm sorry for the bad lighting. I'm working with what I got. I don't have a fancy DSLR or anything, it's just a GoPro. A makeshift shop. Should all be lined up just like so. Okay, then I'll put a little grease on this little roller bearing washer that goes in here. Put a little grease in it so it'll stay too when you go to put it in there. You do not want to be fishing stuff out of this thing. Slippery. I'm just using some marine grease. Thin film of it. Put it in there. See, I hope it from falling out. And put this little washer on. This thing has a notch in it, in this gear that clears this gear right here, cluster gear. Get this bad boy to stay in there. determined to keep falling out. Make sure the roller bearings are all in place. Nice and gentle. There's a better way to keep that in place. Let me drop the tail shaft. Still in place. There we go. Everything's in there. It's been nice and free. Alright. Put a little bit of grease on the inside of this race, inside of your bearing retainer. And one thing you want to make sure too is that if your input shaft is new or whatever, or if you're reusing the other one, there's a little spring that goes around the inside of the seal. You want to make sure it's there, not on the end of your input shaft. Because a lot of times this is just done when you're replacing from an aluminum one. So, and another thing, you want to make sure your big notch is at the bottom. You can usually see it on the front of it. Little lump, wider lump, big lump goes down. Grease on these rollers too. I was lucky enough they were able to press this bearing on before they shipped it to me because I don't have a press yet. Alright. Slide it on. Sure everything goes in, no binding, sits flat. Alright, now we need to put some silicone on it. This is just some black silicone you get from any auto parts store. I'll put a small amount. I just want to put a thin film. I don't want to cake it on here because it'll never dry. I hate messing with this stuff. gets everywhere, like anti-seize. Second you touch something with anti-seize, it just gets everywhere. Alright, I'll put it on. Remember, big slot at the bottom. One of these days I'll get me an impact. Spins freely, so it ain't bound up anywhere. Okay, one thing I just read that I made a mistake on is there's a shim that goes under the retainer for this, your input shaft, bearing retainer. And it goes below the bearing race. I just found out that I had way too much in place, so now it sits flush. It should tighten up now. Just, you know, one of those things. I've never done this before, so I'm just showing you the process of putting it together. I'm about to put it together and see if that took out the in play. They were saying side to side motion's okay, but in and out, you don't want that. Silicone is such a mess. I'm ready to get this thing put in the car. That AOD is about to drive me crazy. Car's pretty much, you know, basic bolt-on, 302, heads, intake, cam, roller rockers. A few little basic mods, nothing crazy. which I know these things are pretty weak, but that was one of the reasons I kind of wanted one of these transmissions, because they had the better gear set in them. Better than the 80 model ones or whatnot. See what we got. They say you want to have slight drag to it. There's 0 in play in this. Spins free. Light drag. No in play. Bound up and spin it by hand. Alright, there you have it. I should be documenting more of the swap as I accumulate more parts. It's just a matter of getting more money up. I still buy the clutch and flywheel and a bunch of other little odd ends. And I'll try to film it when I go to do the swap in a few months. Thanks for watching.